Hey everyone, it's Kristia.
And Jillian!
Oh, she just smacked me in the face. We're coming to you to cook today. We're going to bake some bread. Not just any bread, but a special kind of bread. Right?
Yeah, the one that Jesus had at his Passover.
Yeah, pretty much. We know that in this season, a lot of people in the church usually gather, back up so they can see your cute face. They gather in churches and they meet for a communion service together, and the churches will provide the bread and the juice. And if you're anything like us, we're not able to meet in that conventional way that we've been used to, but back in that time we would gather in homes and we would do the Lord's Supper in homes. And so this year I know we're encouraging our church to join us online for a communion service, and we've told them that whatever they have in the house they can use. But if you are like us and you'd like to have kind of a communion bread, an unleavened bread, similar to what Jesus would have had at the Passover with his disciples, we're going to make that today. Super easy ingredients, simple ingredients that most people probably have in their homes, and you can make your own unleavened communion bread. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. So what happened is Jesus gathered with his disciples to celebrate the Passover meal before the night that he ended up being betrayed and arrested. And at this Passover meal, they would have unleavened bread, because when the Lord gave instructions to the Israelites, there wasn't any time to let yeast work in the dough, because the Passover was happening that night and they were going to be freed the next day. So there wasn't time to allow yeast to make the bread rise. And so they had made unleavened bread, which is bread without yeast. So that's what we are going to be making for our communion service. And I've gone ahead and pre-measured amounts. I will let you know what the amounts are, but Jillian's going to help. Oh, yes. Jillian's going to be my sous chef. She's going to be my sous baker here, and we're excited to share this recipe so that hopefully you get it in time so that you can make it for your family. If your church isn't doing an online communion service, this is something you can read the Bible with your family at home and take the Lord's Supper together, or you can join our service on Oak Ridge Wesleyan Church tomorrow night when we do our communion service on Good Friday at 7 p.m. on our Facebook page. So we'd love to have you join us there. So now we're going to get started with our baking. So after washing your hands for 20 seconds, right, you want to make sure that you get your ingredients all together all at once. It makes for a happier kitchen and less stress and less running around. So what we have here is 1 cup of all-purpose flour measured out in this bowl already. We will then, Jillian will then add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Then add 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. Now the recipe that we're using doesn't necessarily call for honey, but we're going just to add a little squirt of honey to make it slightly sweet. This is an ingredient that Jesus and families back in that time would have had, and so we're just going to add a little bit of honey. And then after we add those ingredients, we're just going to stir it up, and then we'll slowly add in 1/3 of a cup of water, and then we'll use some ninja knife skills to cut it in and make our dough. Jillian is particularly happy about this part. But first, we have to get mixing in the initial ingredients with a spoon, or possibly even a whisk if you wanted to use a whisk. So Jillian, we have to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, which is about half of that one there. That is 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So we need about half of that spoon in the bowl.
Oops. I might have accidentally got a bit more.
Well, we can't put that whole thing in, so that won't work either. So we got now a 1/2 of a 1/4 teaspoon, and we're going to add that into our flour. And you're going to give it a little stir with the spoon. Stir it up real good in the flour. Mix it in. Get in there. Get in there.
Oops.
Make sure it's all mixed in.
How am I supposed to tell it's both white?
Yeah, just keep mixing. Mix, 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 mix.
I might have gotten a bit of flour out.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said.
So long as most of the ingredients stay in the bowl, we should be good. Okay, let's go ahead and add in the vegetable oil. You can move the container of salt towards the back. We're done with that. We added in the vegetable oil. 1/3 cup. By the way, you can go ahead and pour it in, sweetheart.
All of it?
Yep. By the way, you'll want to preheat your oven to 425 degrees before you get going with these steps. Get out a cookie sheet and put on a parchment paper or a silicone baking mat for this. Make sure you mix it all in there.
Yeah, I might need your help with this part.
Might need my help. You can get in there. Just make sure all the dry flour gets in with that olive oil.
Yeah, I've never been able to do that.
You can do it. You can do it. I have faith in you. I'm going to come around here and I'm going to add a little squirty squirt of honey.
I'm doing it.
Good job. Just going to add a little drizzle. That should be enough. I just want to get a little bit of sweetness into the dough.
Okay, is this enough?
I don't know. I'll go ahead and pause the video. I'll make sure it's good here. All right, so there's our dough pre-ninja cutting in 1/3 cup of water. So Jillian's going to, Jillian's going to grab the knives and I'm going to add in a little bit of water at a time. And she's just going to cut it into the dough with her ninja knife skills. If you have a pastry cutter, that works too, or a fork. And you'll just want to add, you want to kind of, if you pull it towards you, it might work a little bit better.
Hiya.
Hiya. Hiya.
Hiya. Hiya.
All right, we'll get back to you in a couple of minutes after we've cut in all the water into the dough. All right, now all of our water has been cut in to our flour, salt, vegetable oil, and honey mixture. And the next step is to take this dough, make sure you have clean hands still, and form it into 6 balls. We're going to go ahead. Jillian's going to help me get these 6 balls going. This is a fun and messy part here, as you can imagine. Right, so as you can see, we have our dough separated into equal parts. You want to take one and roll it into a circle, form it into a ball. And then you want to place them on your cookie sheet, maybe somewhere right around here-ish, Jillian. And then what we want to do next is
Squish it.
Flatten it, squish it. Yeah, not flat like a piece of paper, but more like maybe a pancake or a little thicker than a pancake. So you just want to take your hand and smush it down, Jillian. And then go the other way with it, maybe. Go, yeah, you can keep doing that. That's good. All right, I think that's it.
I think that might be a bit too
I think
big.
it's a little too thin.
I thought it was too big.
I'll kind of take it and try and even it out, but I would say like a disc here.
I'll take the
So
other
about
one.
like that, about that thickness right there. You want to do that 6 times. And then after all 6 discs are on, then what do we do, Jillian?
We make another one.
When
wait,
all
we-
6 are done, we put them where?
We put them in the oven.
At 425 for 8 to 10 minutes. So we are going to continue doing this, and then we will put them in the oven and we'll see what our results are at the end. Once your discs are all flattened and put out on their cookie sheet, you want to go ahead and put them into your oven preheated at 425 for approximately 8 to 10 minutes. So here we go. And into our oven they go. All right, see you soon. All right, our bread, our unleavened bread for communion has come out of the oven. As you can see,
They smell like
nice.
sugar cookies.
I sort of disagree with you, Jillian, but they look yummy. They look like unleavened bread, and they have that nice golden color around the edges. So from what we understand is that these can be preserved and refrigerated for a few days. So you can go ahead and make it today if your communion service is tomorrow, or you're going to do a communion service tomorrow at your home, or if tonight, there's still time, you can make it for this evening as well. Hope that you've enjoyed this communion bread tutorial, and hopefully we will post the link to the recipe on there so that you can access it, so you don't have to watch a video over and over again. We are praying for you. During the season, we just are looking forward to Sunday because we celebrate a risen Savior, and we're looking forward to Easter. And now the video is very shaky because we're celebrating. All right, Jillian, thanks for helping out making the bread with me today. God bless.